Hey, Steve Zook here. Welcome back to polkzoo channel and the guitar ladder system. Hey, today I'm showing something. I live for stuff like this. This is so cool. I just got this. This is a very, very rare Ibanez script logo lawsuit model. I'm going to call it a lawsuit model prototype because they didn't make that many of these with the three-piece back, kind of like a Martin D35. And this guitar really has some of that. It actually has that. I kind of judge guitar tone by what a pre-war Martin sounds like. I haven't had a million of them. I think I've had two or three, or like a 50s D18. But this guitar has the three-piece back. It's got some Brazilian wood on the back, and it's got a little owie on the side here. Doesn't really bother me at all, but I should point it out. I'm still trying to decide whether I should sell this or keep it, but it really has a sound. I'm not overselling. Just a beautiful guitar. And what's really cool too, it's got a really nice setup. It plays beautifully. It's got a low action. Really, really an amazing tone. Not a performance, just showing the guitar. And I want to talk a little bit about tone because a great tone. And what's really interesting about this guitar is when I first got it, like I could tell it hadn't been played in probably 20 years, and I spent a couple hours playing it and it started to really wake up. And when I play like a chord and turn the guitar this way and listen to it, I can hear kind of the overtone ooh, hum, but it has a vibrato ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. That sounds probably crazy, but that's one of the things I've noticed in a great acoustic guitar is it's got you can hear that overtone kind of hum, that kind of ooh. But a really great acoustic guitar has a vibrato to the hum, like ooh. Anyway, but yeah, this is really, it's got just a gorgeous. Got a nice Anyway, it's a dreadnought size. It's got a really nice, cozy, low action. It's been adjusted. By the way, I want to mention, because a lot of people oversell neck resets, and a lot of people that get a little bit of knowledge about guitar then think they're an expert. And I'm not trying to say this to be arrogant. I'm trying to help people. You like this guitar sounds great. Somebody obviously set it up, but most of the time you can just lower the saddle, and if you have to, you sand a little off the bridge, and you're good to go. You don't need to spend a 500 on a neck reset. Anyway, this guitar really has a sound. And a great guitar tone has an orchestral balance. The bass the bass and the mid bass have definition and bloom, and it's really hard to describe, kind of an open, almost holographic quality. It's got definition and articulation, but also a warmth and kind of a bloom and kind of a transparency. I know it sounds like a paradox, but man, this guitar's got it. Anyway, really a beautiful sounding guitar. You hear that tone. So I got to decide if I can sell this or not. If I do sell it, probably one of my good customers. But the value on a guitar like this has a lot to do with the rarity. There's hardly any of these around, and it's hard to get information on this, but from my information, they made less than 10 like this with some of the Brazilian wood on the back, and it's got one change tuner on it. But this guitar, I don't see how you can get a guitar that sounds much better. Kind of reminds me a bit of a, that's one advantage to, buying and selling guitars and collecting for 35, 40 years. I've had so many guitars come through my hands and ears. This guitar reminds me some of a D35 Martin, an older one. It has some pre-war Martin in the tone. And it reminds me a little bit with the definition and sweetness of like an old 50s Martin D18. This is really, somebody put a lot of thought into this guitar. And it just it's just waking up. But hear that balance. This is going to be a short demo, but yeah, this is really rare. I used to collect script logo Ibanez guitars, and like I said, this one actually has the Guild logo on the headstock, so it's definitely, a lot of people push the lawsuit thing when it's not really a lawsuit. This one definitely is in that category. But I also, because it's got the Guild logo, it's script logo 70s Ibanez. It's got a change tuner, like I said. It's got an owie on the back here. It needs a little bit of extra. It's going to need a little bit of extra binding there. But it just sounds unbelievable. I've always loved a three-piece back. I've got a Yamaha here with a three-piece back. I just sold a beautiful 96 Martin D35 to a really cool guy, and he loves it, which is nice. And it sounded incredible. This guitar, it just really has a voice, and I've got to decide whether I can let it go or not, to be honest. Somebody's probably going to fall in love with this guitar, just have to have it. But like I said, the price is reflective of the rarity of it. From what I could figure out, they made less than 10, maybe even 5 or less. It's got some Brazilian wood in the back. It's got a great low action setup. It's all ready to enjoy. I've got Levens on it right now. But it just has that orchestral voice with that rare combination of definition and warmth and sweetness with articulation, and it just has just a gorgeous voice. Yeah, I really love this guitar. I love stuff, and I love waking up a guitar, because when I first played it, I could just tell it hadn't been played in 25 years at least, I can see why Ibanez got sued over guitars like this, because it just sounds so freaking good. It just has that. And by the way, people always ask me, I'm using a $100 Zoom Q3 with small, cheap little mics. Nothing sophisticated here, folks. And it still sounds this good. I think one word I'd like to throw in here in terms of discussing guitar tone, it's got a pianistic quality. Now, that's not to take away from the guitar quality, it's to add to it. It's got that pianistic quality where there's just a lot of dreadnoughts have kind of just a shit howdy bass. They have kind of a very non-defined bass. This has got a bass that just blooms with tone, man. I love this guitar. Nothing sounds like aged wood too. When you get wood that's 50 years old or older, it just resonates and has a sweetness, and there's an orchestral bloom and there's a balance, and yeah, this really has a and like I said, the setup is beautiful. It's nice and easy to play. Not so much a performance, just letting you hear the guitar. Anyway, really nice guitar. It's got kind of a medium neck, not super thin, not super thick, kind of medium, maybe medium thin. Really a nice neck. But that's some real tone. You don't see these around much, especially with the back with some Brazilian rosewood in it, which is just beautiful. But it adds to the sound too. This guitar just sounds incredible. I'm not overselling. I've got to decide whether I can keep it or let it go. Because I just really love it, and it was so fun. I played it for a few hours last night, and it's a whole different guitar now. It's only going to sound better the more it's played, But yeah, this is real tone, folks. Real tone, man. Simple things sound good on because it has such a beautiful. Anyway. Hear that? Ooh. Yeah, hell of a box. Hell of a box. I used to collect script logo Ibanez stuff. It's very, very, very rare. Wasn't made in huge quantities, especially guitars like this. This guitar kind of incorporates, some pre-war Martin sound. It's got some pre-war Martin sound, like a Martin from the 30s. It's got some kind of D35 magic from the three-piece back, which accentuates mid-range. And then with some Brazilian rosewood in the back too, it really it adds a sweetness to the articulation and definition. That's the only way I can explain it. But yeah, this is a hell of a box, man. That's the hardest part of doing. I always make the joke I should be selling tires, right? There's a roundness and a sweetness, and I like to use the term holographic quality to it, which is very hard to explain, but I think there's a depth to the tone without being muddy, you know what I mean? That the mid bass and the mid range, which is where a ton of the magic is in a great guitar, just has a crystalline quality. You people out there that have been playing for 30, 40, 50 years probably understand some of the things I'm saying a little bit more. That's not a put down. But there's a lot more to understanding guitar than meets the eye. I'm still learning, and I've been doing this for a long time. But yeah, this thing just sounds incredible. Overtones are just gorgeous in this guitar. Like I said, I'm still figuring out whether I can let it go or not, or add it to my collection. This is really, I know I say this a lot, but I have a talent for finding rare guitars. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of hunting, a lot of searching. It's not easy, but I seem to do pretty good at it. And when I say a guitar is special, it's not sales bullshit, guys. This one's very special. But this is not for somebody who's trying to make rent. You need to be able to afford to pay for something that's rare and it sounds unbelievable. Anyway, any interest, email me polkzoo@gmail.com or stevezook7@yahoo.com. That's 7 not spelled out, just the number. Or text me 714-548-0385. All right, it's hard to put this thing down, man. So I'm kind of calling this an Ibanez lawsuit prototype because of the rarity of the wood on the back. Sounds unreal.